10 years ago, you had this little dream, right?
Right.
Of just like making clothes, and then you started doing the chains. Um, okay, how'd you run into this guy over here? How did he meet you?
We used to work together part time at night at Home Depot.
Oh yeah, and what you think about him?
Oh, he's cool.
Yeah,
His energy, I guess I want to say we were attracted to each other by energy.
yeah,
He's a positive dude. Things he wants to accomplish. Same thing with me. So we clicked on that. So
yeah,
it was always like, inspirational, positive talking all the time. Because you have some coworkers that kind of suck, and
yeah.
it's cool when you meet people that you click with. So
I knew you had your company, you were selling clothing and you were designing clothing, and I didn't know how that was going. I mean, this was just the article alone showed me that you're doing well, so that's why I reached out.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to hear what's been going on since the last time we spoke face to face. So I mean, if you could elaborate on that.
when we used to work together. We barely were starting pretty much. So we were trying to find out what our path was going to be. Design wise, what we were going to cover, what we were going to do. I think at that time we were just doing basically t-shirts. So we're still in that t-shirt phase, trying to figure out if we're going to be a full-blown clothing company or not. So I would say significantly over the last 5 years, we found a path, decided what our look was going to be, and that's what we've been focusing on.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you, do you try to gear it towards like a look that's kind of going a national look that you follow fads going on, or do you kind of try to keep something local, or what's your vision for your own company?
So since I head up the design half of it, what I would tell you is it's something I heard DMX say like 10, 15 years ago. He doesn't listen to fellow artists at all. He only listens to his own music because it keeps him authentic. So it's the same way for us. I don't tune into anyone else's designs, anything like that. It's all pretty much whatever we come up with. So it's the influence is more I would say pop culture, a little bit of history, a little bit of art, all kind of fine tuned together to come up with our design of who we are.
All right, so I want to go back.
Mhm.
I want to go back. Like, how did this idea come up from the very beginning? Because I kind of want to take this journey with you guys. Because you said you started off with just t-shirts.
Yes.
What were those t-shirts like? And then walk us through like when it went from t-shirts maybe to like everything else. Okay, how many years ago was this when you first popped up in your head?
Well, honestly, I would tell you, I always wanted to be a fashion designer since I was probably like 8.
Wow.
I've been an artist, so I always was drawing and doing stuff. But as a male, it's kind of hard to break into fashion because people don't take you seriously, and then they want to think other things. Since I would say the world's changed, where you have a lot more ability to do what you want to do, be who you want to be. So I was working a part-time job at a call center, and I had a sketchbook, and I was drawing something out. Dude passing by, he's like, "Yo, you should put that on a shirt." I said, "You're right." So that's our very first design. So it's a Cobra. It's called Technicolor Nightmare. It's what it ended up becoming, the final production of it. But that was our very first shirt that we ever did.
How long ago was this?
About 10 years ago.
Dang.
So we kind of floated it out there to see, kind of feedback and everything. Pass was a weird place, so you don't always get the most positive feedback. But that didn't stop us. We kept on moving with it. We also incorporated hats, and growing up with my dad, he's a woodworker. So I learned how to make jewelry and things out of wood. So we were making back then chains out of wood that was the logo of the company. So we had the hats, we had the t-shirts, and then we had the basic wood chain jewelry. So
I remember that you had. It was a big chain. It's not something I would wear because I have these back neck problems and it kind of hold me down a little. But,
Right.
but they were pretty big, man.
Well, everyone thought they were like real heavy, but they're actually super light.
Oh.
But they appear to be way heavier than they actually are.
All right, so you start doing the chains and everything. When do you guys start gaining some traction?
So I say me and my sister started doing local things, like artist events, music events, things like that. And then we clicked into a local show that isn't in effect anymore, but was back then, called Fashion Inc. So we did a couple seasons with them. Still kind of branched out, did a couple other shows. And then we linked up with El Paso Fashion Week, started doing those shows. Mm-hmm. So all those shows kind of helped us to fine tune who we were and get our path together. so that we could do stuff like New York Fashion Week.
Like just your name overall, it makes me like, okay, why Imperial Legacy? You know, like what was the behind your name?
So Imperial Legacy is it's basically two concepts. Imperial is basically because we're all kings and queens in our own right. So you as a man, you as a husband, you run your family. You're in charge of making sure they survive and do better, and basically influence them to do the most they can with themselves, especially as a father raising sons. So then you have the legacy part of it, which is what you leave for your children to grow from. So Imperial and Legacy comes together because it's an ongoing experience that families and people should have. So that's how my sister comes in, because I wanted to do something there. It was me and her showing the world that we could do something different that hadn't been done before. So here we are, running a fashion company, one of two businesses that we have together. Nobody else, me and my sister. So.
No, I like that.
How'd you guys like make that jump into getting invited to Fashion Week in New York? Because I mean, again, like I feel there's a part of the story that we're missing out on.
So basically, like how he said, I handle all the business stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I started applying to things. So
Okay.
you have to be accepted into any of these platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So I filled out an application. I went through the onboarding. It was everything has like a lot of steps, and we got accepted. So we had to basically present our art and what we do, and then they had to say it was up to par to be able to present it.
So I know you said you're the Omega, right?
Yes.
But it sounds like she's the brains over there.
I know, but me and my sister, I didn't explain the whole thing.
She's like, shut up.
Me and my sister are straight up yin and yang. So wherever I stop at, my sister picks it up and goes. Same thing where she stops at, I pick it up and go.
Yeah.
There's no me without her. There's no her without me. We're a team.
Yeah.
So we're a perfect example of what siblings want to be and what they should be. We weren't the best growing up. We're typical siblings. She got on my nerves, got on her nerves. But for this to work, we have to be in unison and work together.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of want to show people that, siblings can do anything.
Yeah.
As long as you put your mind to it, focus. And
Yeah, and see, that's funny that you say that, because they always say don't like mix business with family, because it tends to, like, if it fails, you guys like
You have a resentment.
Yeah,
towards each
exactly.
other.
right.
So how do you guys keep that balance?
By giving each other the room to grow. And what I mean basically is that I'm not going to say I don't, but I try my best not to chastise my sister about things that don't work out. I try to be understanding and just, give her room to do what she has to do and respect what she's in charge of, and she respects what I'm in charge of.
Mm-hmm.
I think that understanding alone gives us both the ability to be co-CEOs and then come together to make more things happen. So I come up with a concept. I'm like, hey, what do you think? She's like, you know what? Nah, all right, we scrap that. You want to add something to this? Oh, we do this? And all right, what you think? Boom, and then we'll do it. So even though I'm the designer, she still has her voice, and as far as what I'm creating.
Yeah, basically. And sometimes he'll want to try something and I'm like, I don't know. And we'll just try it and see what the response is. Because sometimes I don't see his vision, but then the world sees his vision. So a lot of the things where I'm like, oh, maybe that's too much. And then we went to New York and they're like, oh my God, I love that. Like, how do I get it? I want it right now.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of, sometimes we have to wait and see what the world's reaction is to what we're doing. Like, neither of us really know. And we got to see what everybody else is kind of feeling.
What do you guys have in the future as far as like more accessories and all? I mean, how far does this go out? It really up to you, right?
It's endless for the most part. I mean, now the pandemic helped us and slowed us down at the same time. We had shows scheduled that we didn't get to do during the pandemic, so now we're playing catch up right now.
Yeah.
So some collections that were supposed to come out during that period, we held on to, could be like, we want people to experience that concept a little bit more the way we wanted it to be. So now we're going back and releasing a little bit more to try to catch it up. Because like this year, and then New York Fashion Week, we dropped our button ups, more casual things. Because what we're pushing for now is to give you that loud, but then also that soft too. Yeah. So for the people that all these colors are too much, we have stuff that doesn't have the same amount of colors, same style, just a little bit more tame for the person that can't get with the loudness. So, but just keep creating and keep adding to our collections.
Sure. What's your next step? You guys only do online? You guys think about getting a store? Or?
We have thought about that. We're just not sure where we want to put it. We don't know if we want to do it in El Paso, if we'd rather just like be carried in different like department stores. We're not sure yet, but we're definitely trying to expand. So we we've already been invited to a show for next year in New York. We want to start like leaving the country. So our next big goal is to show in Paris or Milan.
That's awesome.
And
Oh, yeah.
so